Good morning, Mr. King. We'll be with you here momentarily.
Good morning, sir.
We'll get everybody lined up here. Jordan has joined us. Good morning. Thank you all for being here. This is file 201185, People versus Stephen Dwayne King. Mr. King is in custody at the Sheriff's Department. Also present is Deborah Davis from the Prosecuting Attorney's Office, Jordan Yancey. She and her partner Christine Yancey were representing the defendant, and Autumn Kiefer from the Probation Department, who are all here on short notice, which I appreciate. Mr. King got arrested yesterday on a bench warrant, and counsel wasn't available, so I repointed the thing till this morning. We were going to try to do it at 10:30 or 11, and we got the jail to bring him in at 10:30. The defendant was originally charged with domestic violence second offense. It was reduced to a first offense, and he was given 3 days jail and 30 days were deferred. Then he failed his probation, and we had a probation violation sentencing, and the judge ordered, being me, 33 days jail, credit 3, leaving 30 days to serve, which he was supposed to begin on February the 19th. I waived the fines and costs. He failed to appear for the sentencing, and he got picked up on a bench warrant. And so I did a polycom arraignment, and rather than just go ahead and do what was originally ordered, I thought I'd make it available for his counsel to be here. You can see Mr. King is quite uncomfortable. He has some medical issues. Mr. King, how are you doing today?
It's not been very good, sir. I think I'm schizophrenic. I don't think I've been diagnosed yet. I've been talking with Dr. Singh and CMH, and I've been self-medicating, as you know, with the methadone, Neurontin, and Klonopin over the last few years. But if I could waive my rights, I would like to be put in a state hospital for evaluation to get the medication I need and to get clean off of the drugs, the self-medicating, and then come back and do my jail time and still leave it the same. Now, I'm not trying to get away from punishment. It's just, sir, I feel like I'll lose my mental constitution if I'm in here with the kind of issues I have. I don't feel like I would be much to any.
This would be a good chance to detox from the drugs, the illegal drugs. And my proposal is to contact Lisa at the jail, Jordan and Autumn. I would not object to him going into an inpatient mental health treatment, but my inclination is to do my original order. He didn't show up for jail. He said he really didn't have a good reason. He just didn't want to go to jail. And
There really isn't a good reason, sir, except fear. That's all it was.
Yes. So
Because I've had a lot of trouble in here before with my
you've been
mental
self-medicating. I'm sorry, and you can't just stop. You're using all these unprescribed drugs and methamphetamine, and it's hard to sort out mental illness from drug withdrawal. And
No, sir, I only do the medications I'm prescribed. I don't go
no,
to do the street drugs, and then I drink.
I thought you told me you were doing some other stuff.
No, just the drinking that gets me in trouble. No, I've just been my medications. I used to smoke weed when I was younger, but I don't really care much for that anymore.
Okay. Ms. Yancey, I know you haven't had a chance to process any of this. Autumn, what's your thought regarding my proposal?
I mean, you're the judge.
Well, originally, and I don't know whether he's eligible for anything, and I don't know whether he's what he's doing. But I made the sentence originally, the probation failed miserably. I waived all the fines and costs. What day did you get arrested, Mr. King? Yesterday?
That was just the day before yesterday, technically. Actually, I think it was yesterday, technically. It was late at night.
It'll be on his wristband if there's a wristband on his arm.
Yeah, I think he got
His
arrested.
birthday is 4/13 at 2:41.
All right.
And his PBT was a .145 at the time of booking.
I messed up again with the drinking.
Yes, 33 days, credit 4, leaving 29 days to serve. Court will consider inpatient.
I appreciate that, sir. Whether I deserve it or not, I'm not pulling any feathers. I have a lot of mental disorders, I really do. I just haven't been doing it the right way. And running from your past and running from problems like right now, it's just sounds like another excuse up here. That's why I say I waive my adult rights, and if that's okay with you guys, to put me into a mental institute so they can get me under control with medication.
I don't know if that's a possibility, but I'm not precluding it. You seem quite rational and reasonable today, and
I have a personality disorder. Like, the intellectual part of my brain is fine. It's the personality disorder part that leaves me with a lot of anxiety and depression, and then I get scared. And then I do stupid things when I get scared, and there's no excuse for it. There isn't. Now I'm looking for...
Would you like me to contact Miss Inatelli and see what she can do on her end, and if he can be transported from the jail to some treatment, maybe defer the remaining jail time?
potentially, yes. Why don't you go ahead and do that? I was going to do it, but CC us on your email.
I will do
Ms.
that.
Intelli does a very nice job for us. So, Mr. King, there was not, there was an assault underlying all this, and that's what you're being punished for, not for drinking, not for being mentally ill, but ultimately it was someone got assaulted, and we tried a probation and it didn't work. And so I told you what was going to happen, and it happened. So we're going to see about making a referral, and if CMH or other agency can find a mental health placement, I won't preclude it. Otherwise, you're going to do 29 days minus good time, which would be about 24 or 25 days, give or take. If you're a trustee, you'll be out sooner than that. All right.
CMH, my doctor's name is Dr. Singh. He's my psychiatrist at CMH, if you guys needed that information.
All right, we'll pursue that. All right.
I appreciate that, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Autumn, Mrs. Davis, and thank you, Miss Yancey.
Good luck, Mr. King.
All right, thank you. We've got two sentences at 11. And Jordan, no, it's not your case. The other case, Chapman, is set for tomorrow. Debbie, do you have any luck locating the victim in that case yet, or do you even know?
I will check with Marissa. I sent her the message yesterday asking her, who's the attorney on Bowker for today at 11?
Melissa Halleck.
Okay.
Jordan, thank you for coming in on short notice. I always appreciate it. Thanks.
Not a problem.
Have a good day. Debbie, I'll see you in a few minutes.
Yes.
Okay, we'll stop the recording for a minute. We have two sentences at 11, and that's all that we actually have scheduled on the record for the rest of the day, although we may come in for some emergency or walk-on matters. So we're going to be resuming court here in just about 15 minutes or less. Good morning. This is Judge Middleton. I'm over here at the court. Thank you for being here. You're a little early, but I don't see any reason. Well, that's fine. I'm glad you're here. I think we can get right to it if the prosecutor will join us. We're set for 11. It's 7 minutes to 11, and you're ready. We're ready. Okay. I don't believe there's an attorney in this case. Welcome back, Ms. Davis. This is file 21574SM. It's entitled People versus Jason Robert Orsi. Mr. Orsi was charged with domestic violence, and the matter was set for sentencing this morning because I wanted to hear from Carrie Orsi, the complainant. She is here. And this was a mental health circumstance that could have turned dangerous. The defendant pled to domestic violence. He's done 1 day in jail. And I wanted to hear from Carrie Orsi, who is present. Mrs. Orsi, thank you for being here. You're the complaining witness in this case. What would you like me to know?
That we've been married we've been together for 7 years, and never in 7 years has he ever been like that. He has always been sweet and loving. Everybody has disagreements. Our disagreements would last 30 minutes, kiss, make up, and go on about our day. And then just this last year, he had admitted that he was doing drugs, and I could definitely tell by his attitude. Our fight that day started the day before, and it was like a 15-hour thing. All of it is blurry. But from what I hear from his family, he's getting the help that he needs. And he has been passing drug tests. And he's been going to a church thing, I think, called Celebrate Recovery. If he's up for it, we do have 3 children together. I would like to get some marriage counseling with him, and I would like our marriage to continue. I would like for him to agree to that.
All right. Mr. Orsi, you've got some other things on your record, but no domestic assaults. So I believe you're eligible for the domestic assault deferral program, where I would put you on a probation, prohibit you from drinking, using drugs, go to probably the anger management class, and I'd lift the no contact provision, and you could move back in with your household, your wife and kids, but you have to comply with the terms of probation. What's your thought about that?
I would like that very much, Your Honor.
Tell me about Celebrate Recovery. Are you in fact doing that?
Yes, I do it every Friday at 6 o'clock.
At Riverside?
Yep, at Riverside Church. My pastor is my sponsor as well. I just got another sponsor through CMH. I agreed to intensive outpatient counseling. I do 9 hours a week of that.
Well, it sounds like a good start. Ms. Davis, what's your thought here?
Governor, I had the same thought about doing the DV deferral. It appears to me in reading this report that in what Ms. Orsi is saying today, if drugs were in fact involved, things make a lot more sense with this report. It appears that in this situation, she was more of a person in the path of a tornado, and Jason being that with the destruction that he caused in the house. And it seemed like he was more intent on hurting himself than anybody else, but anyone that got in his way was going to be taken out with him. She wasn't seriously injured, but it's still a situation where probation is appropriate. The children were there. It's got to be difficult on them. This just happened, let's see, a couple weeks ago. So we're we're very early in his recovery and mental health treatment. But if the court does lift the no contact, certainly we would want some testing provisions or some sort of oversight, making sure that everybody is safe. But in this situation, I would have no objection to the DV deferral based on the defendant's desire to do it, the victim's willingness, and I'd leave the rest of the court's discretion. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Orsi, what this means is if you complete the probation, this charge would be taken off your record as a public record of conviction. Right now, you're doing all the right things. You're doing the IOP, you're connected with CMH, you're doing Celebrate. Those are the kind of things I'm going to order you to do. I'm going to do a 12-month probation. You could be discharged earlier if you complete the program by then, but there's a $75 crime victims' rights fee and a $50 state minimum fee, $480 probation oversight fee, and you're to pay for the class. Right now it's online. I'm not going to order the domestic violence bigger class. I'm going to start with anger management. Alcohol and drug testing as directed. No assaultive or threatening behavior, and you're not to drink any alcohol or consume any controlled substance. That also includes marijuana, unless you have a medical marijuana card.
No, Your Honor.
I want you clean and clear-headed. Your wife seems like a keeper to me.
Yes, she is.
As you say they aren't, but she's here kind of in your corner. She deserves better than you've been giving her. You're accusing her of things that didn't happen, and some of that has to do with the drugs. So you got something worth getting your ducks in a row for, your family. Are you working someplace?
I'm currently working at Da Vinci's. It's a restaurant here in Sturgis.
The no contact provision is lifted, Mrs. Orsi. You can talk on the phone, you can go out for breakfast, you can live in the same house. But there's a clause that says he has no threatening or assaultive behavior, which is short of an actual assault and battery, which could violate his probation. But once he's sober and clean from drugs, he's the person that you married. And let's see if we can keep that. Mr. Orsi, the probation department will be contacting you. Is your number still the one that ends in 2354?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
All right. And you're going to be back at the West Geraldine Street address?
Yes.
All right. Anything further?
No.
Mrs. Orsi, thank you for being here. You can get your family back together. And Mr. Orsi, I want you to keep doing what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. You're both good to go. Thank you for being here. Ms. Orsi, I'll let you go first.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Melissa's here, and I believe this is Alicia Bowker.
I wanted to see if my Zoom is working or not, Your Honor. I might have to use my computer, but
You seem good.
it's okay? Okay.
Yes. Ms. Bowker, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Thank you. This is the time and date for sentencing in this matter of People versus Alicia Rachel Bowker. File number is 21212FY. Your lawyer, Melissa Halleck, is here. Prosecutor Deborah Davis is here. And Daniel Frazine from the Probation Department is here. We are live on YouTube. We are on the Zoom platform. And this is the time and date for sentencing in this matter. You were charged with possession of methamphetamine. The matter was reduced to a misdemeanor charge of use of methamphetamine. Because of all the circumstances in the case, I asked for a pre-sentence investigation report from Mr. Frazine, and he did an excellent one. This is a hard case. I'm not sure what to do here. And so I want to hear from everybody until we figure out what the appropriate sentence is. So Melissa, I'm going to start with you. What would you like me to know?
Well, Your Honor, when I first took this case, I really thought she must be using meth, reading the police report. Or she had meth for some reason, and most likely it's use. We know our clients lie to us all the time, so didn't believe her. But I've had multiple conversations with her and communications. She leads a very busy life with young children, that she gets to school, that she gets to appointments, that she's working on her education. There's nothing in her life or her demeanor or anything that would ever make me believe that she's using meth. So if she is, I'd be shocked. I don't think, I mean, I've had other well-educated people that I've spoke with that, you know, give their explanations, and I'm still not convinced that they weren't using. But with Miss Bowker, it's hard to say. I trust her that she's not. I think she has a lot going on in her life. I don't think she could maintain that if she's using meth. As a single mom, it's extremely difficult with young children and a job and doing her own, you know, she's maintaining, she does take medications. She gets her kids to physical therapy. She's got a lot on her plate. So if it was a one-time use, maybe experiment, I don't know. But I think she's probably learned her lesson then. But she's been cooperative the whole time, very respectful, very good at communicating. I have no doubt that she'll successfully complete probation, as Mr. Frazine indicated. And so I think, obviously, I feel she deserves this opportunity to try to do the 7411 probation and get that offer, get this off her record. I do see she has some minor things in the past that raised some questions, but I think those were all significant time ago. Hang on. And so I guess I would just ask for Your Honor to follow the recommendation for the probation. Can you give me one moment? I'm sorry.
Yes, I thought that was her.
I apologize. My kids are home because of COVID symptoms.
Oh, I thought you had a carpenter working at your house.
No, 2 4.5-year-olds and a 10-year-old, and the 10-year-old isn't doing her babysitting job very well. I apologize.
Right, we'll do the best we can. Alicia, I'd like to hear from you, and then we'll hear from Deborah and then Daniel.
Okay.
What do you want to tell me?
Well, I know sorry, I have this mask on. I'm actually in the process of going to get a child from school.
Well, is anyone in the car with you?
No.
Well, go ahead and take your mask off.
Okay. So this whole process, like I spoke with Melissa about, has been very difficult and challenging. Your Honor, with all the information I've also given you and conversations with Melissa and Dan, I have a lot of interaction with people in the community. And I've always been quick to help others and try to save others, or trying to be there to, support them. And however, it's been difficult because I don't do the best job of thinking before trying to help someone. In this situation, it shows me. I feel like this is all, and I apologize if I'm not supposed to speak on faith in, the courtroom. But it's been God's way of getting my attention to really put up boundaries when it comes to people reaching out and needing help. I'm, stretched very thin with time as it is, as I'm trying to get back and get accepted in the nursing program. As the first time that I got accepted, I found out that I had ovarian cancer, and I had to give up my seat that I was accepted for. And in, the meantime of all this, I have to learn to put myself first, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The other times that, I believe I want to say it was 2014 or 15, and correct me if I'm wrong, with the retail fraud, of course, I was there helping somebody, giving them a ride. They ended up having the groceries that they had in their cart was stolen. And the only time that I've really been in some sort of criminal matter now and before is when I was trying to help someone. I have way too much invested in my adult life and my 4 children to throw something away over something that is nothing I would ever even think about, touching, because my life and my livelihood and freedom is way more important, because I have 4 kids that rely on me. And, there's many times that I could have given up with all the difficult, things that I've been through in life. However, I see more for myself and for my family. And so this has really been a big learning lesson, that I have to put up boundaries. And I can't always be so quick to help people, because they're not thinking, they're not thinking of my life. They're not thinking of what I'm responsible for and the children that look up to me and rely on me. So this has been my wake up call to, I have no choice but to put up boundaries. So when people call me and they need a ride, or they need me to take them to the store, or pick up their kids, or loan them money, or whatever the case is, I can't do that. I have so many different licenses and certifications that could be, suspended, or I would lose them, and all the time that I've put in over the last, 15 years, if I don't make it serious with, being firm on my word and starting to be selfish. It's been a big wake up call, and I have too much invested in my life to do something stupid or even try. I mean, I don't drink. I'm on medication. There are numerous health, issues, and the main things have been the ovarian and cervical cancer. But I mean, I was just talking to Melissa, my free time, which I don't have much of, is spent looking up, research and studies on Alzheimer's and dementia. So this has really, really been hard for me to even speak on, or even hear my name associated with the use of methamphetamine, because if anything, I'm the one trying to help people stay strong, or, support them as being a mother, or helping them be able to find resources for any of their children that may have disabilities. My oldest has autism and is in a lot of intensive therapies, and there's a lot of loopholes in the mental health world that a lot of kids are really lost and forgotten because of, the lack of knowledge or resources that people don't know where to turn. And there are many people that reach out to me. And Your Honor, there's just too much I have invested to lose over something like this. I'm sure you get a lot of different cases, but like Melissa said, and I'm sure, you know, Dan will speak on it too, this is probably one of your only cases that I can honestly say, and my results also show that, you know, I'm telling the truth. I've never used. Clearly, I need to also make sure that I'm not taking my medications in the car with me, and they need to be in the right bottles, and, you know, they need to be left at home. And it's really just, it's been a wake-up call that, you know, I need to slow down when I'm ripping and running and trying to help everybody, that my livelihood and freedom and not having a criminal background is so much more important than trying to help somebody else. But I guess that's about all. I don't know what else to say.
All right, well, I thought you did fine. Let me zoom this in a little bit. Ms. Davis, what's your input here?
Well, Your Honor, I was a little concerned about the report from the PSI saying that it really wasn't her. She didn't know it was in her pocket. She didn't try to hide it. She didn't do this. So I was able to get Three Rivers Police to send over the body cam this morning, and I was able to review it in the few minutes prior to the hearing. And I've time-stamped a few things that I think would be important for Your Honor to see in deciding how this actually happened. So if I may screen share, this is the point where they are searching. She was being arrested simply for not having a proper license and insurance on the vehicle. And so the officer was checking and allowing her to check her pockets to make sure that there was nothing on her. May I screen share?
May.
I'm sorry, I'm free. Go ahead and give me your hand. Go ahead and give me your hand. Okay, go ahead. Place your hands behind your back.
I'm sorry, I might need to go back just a touch because I thought I had it shared.
Okay. Nothing in there. Watch your hand and I'll check it quick. I'm sorry, I'm free. Go ahead and give me your hand. Go ahead and give me your hand. Okay, go ahead. Place your hands behind your back. Okay. Talk to Officer one quickly. Hey. Hold on, it's okay. Chris, can you work with the kids, please? Okay. Well, right now you're under arrest for possession of methamphetamine. Okay. So I need to be able to get somebody for your kids, and they are not going back where you came from. So you need to let me know who I can get a hold of.
I have to call my husband.
Okay. All right, step back here for me. So 224, I'm gonna have 100, 3,500. I'm gonna need shears for a 4-door Suburban, 4 tires though. You're able to get some poundage.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
You can get into my car like I just asked you to before we talk about anything else. Do you understand that?
My son doesn't know.
Okay. I'm not going to talk to them about what is going on with you.
Okay.
Okay. You understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. But at this point, I will.
My son's gonna need my code to get into my phone.
Okay. We will handle all of that. Okay.
Okay.
So before this all happens, they're going to end up going up to our office and having to sit there until someone can come pick them up. Okay. You're going to end up going over to the jail, but we will go up there together to make this really, really easy. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Okay. So.
well, he's in Kalamazoo.
Okay.
And we can, this is,
Do you have a grandmother or anybody else that's closer?
no, we're from Kalamazoo.
Okay. Sounds good. Have a seat in there, tuck your knee in, and then I'm going to talk with them. We're going to go from there. Okay? All right. Thank you.
I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to 16 minutes and 50 seconds. And in the in-between, the officer simply is getting the kids out of the car, trying to get them settled down.
He's avoiding that drugs. She delayed, and she just blurted out it's going with her. So she basically just admitted the delivery. If you want to hand that, and then it's up to you. Okay.
She blurted out what?
She said it's going to somebody. And they thought that it was a delivery of methamphetamine at that point. Now, I haven't had a chance to watch the entirety of the video because it's quite long, but what I saw in the video was, and I can go back and have you view how she cleaned out her pockets before that incident, where the inside zippered pocket, she put her hand in and tried to hide a half gram of meth. They weighted at first as 0.7. I think the lab came back as a 0.375. So either way, it seemed clear to me that she was caught and she knew she was caught. You look at her face. She didn't say, meth, what? There's no meth in my pocket. She never once said anything in denial of it. She was concerned about her kids, as she should be, because they're sitting in the back seat of her car. It appears to me that the story about coming down to visit some friend's sick grandpa that just got out of the hospital was probably really just her drug dealer that she was visiting while she had two kids in the car. It infuriates me that somebody would continually lie to everybody that's trying to help them. 7411 probation is for people that want to keep a clear record and want to do better for themselves, not somebody who has an excuse for every single criminal act that's on her record, including this one that she entered a plea to. I don't know if the court wants to try a probation. I mean, the other part of this is when they're checking through her car, she's got multiple pill bottles with multiple prescriptions in each pill bottle all mixed up. So I think she's got some pretty significant problems, and being a CNA and taking care of people in their homes and having access to their medications potentially, it doesn't sit well with me. I think she needs some jail time to get her head straight and take only the medications that she is prescribed under the direction of the jail's medical staff, so that we can be certain that she's clear-headed and some punishment for what has occurred here. These two children had to watch their mother get arrested. I give a lot of credit to the Three Rivers Police. They did an amazing job, from what I can see on the video, of trying to keep these kids calm and not let them know what was going on. But the fact remains, she had meth in her pocket, and she knew she had meth in her pocket, and she keeps lying about it. So I'd ask the court to take that into consideration in her sentencing today.
Daniel mentions this in his pre-sentence report. Meth people lie to us all the time, and Melissa indicated that, you know, her clients don't always tell her the truth. And I'm no all-omniscient judge that knows what's true and what isn't. But I've heard this, somebody else put it in my pocket story about 100 times. And so we tend to be a bit suspicious about it. So I had you do some drug testing and no methamphetamine showed up. That's a plus. But I'm going to have a few questions for you in a minute. Daniel, what's your thought? You hadn't had the benefit of being able to watch that video until now either.
Yes, as always, Deb did a very good job, and I did have some concerns that she brought to light. And again, without a crystal ball, you're never going to know 100%. But with the attitude and the approach she took when I started going down her other criminal history with, oh, it was my friends I hung around with, it was my boyfriend's daughter that did this, and then this was somehow magically put in her pocket. It's kind of a hard pill to swallow. But then when I step back a little bit and look at, she has 4 kids, 2 with special needs, and she's taking care of other people. If we just simply put her in jail, she's going to go back to her own life, and these kids, in my opinion, will be at a greater risk, and not to mention the people she's taking care of. So I think there is a strong case for having her on a longer term of probation. With the kids' situation, and she told me, and of course I don't know if this is true, that her husband doesn't give her a whole lot of help. I was a little light on my recommendation for the upfront jail, but I do definitely think that it would be the best interest of the community to have her on a long term of probation with testing and treatment.
All right. You're from Parchment. You grew up in Gull Lake. Three Rivers isn't close to those places. You're on River Drive, right in front of the Halverson Chapel funeral home. Where were you going?
I was heading home, Your Honor.
From where?
It was a friend's grandfather that had just gotten out of the hospital, and I had visited him because with the COVID we couldn't go in there. It wasn't the boyfriend. When we got to their house, they had taken our coats and set them in a back room.
All right, where was the house?
I'm not familiar with the street.
Well, you weren't on the way to anywhere. I mean, you're not on a main drag. This isn't a place someone's just going to accidentally be on. What was the name of the person you were visiting?
It was Samantha's grandfather, which is Richard
Samantha who?
Hernandez.
Why were you visiting him?
Because with my experience in helping people in the medical field, he had a wound on his leg, and I was showing them how to set up. In the meantime, they were waiting for home care to come in to prepare all of his admission.
Why don't you just take your mask off? You're outdoors. You don't need to have a mask.
I had recent surgery on my mouth, and the air hurts really, really bad. But
okay. All right. Well, what Debbie thinks is you were delivering an 8-ball to somebody, or you just bought one. And Daniel's right. And everything in your criminal history, it's someone else's fault. Somebody put a stolen camera in my backpack. I drove somebody to the grocery store. They stole groceries. I didn't know it. It was this. It was that. You didn't act high. You were polite and respectful to the police officers. And I wouldn't do anything different if you told me you just went somewhere and bought an 8-ball. What troubles everybody is we don't believe you. And if we don't believe you about this, then why put you on probation? Miss Davis watched the video and she's very suspicious. You clearly knew that it was there. What you were doing with it, I don't know. Whether you were going to take it, whether you were buying it for somebody, whether you were delivering it to somebody. You need a probation, as Daniel says. You're on all this other medication. You've got it all willy-nilly and unmarked prescription bottles in your car. I don't know what you're doing with that. And your kids are in the car, your license was suspended, and it's just a mess. And so our fear is this is one more time where you're guilty without being guilty, and you don't want to admit what you did because you painted yourself into a corner telling your friends and family that you didn't do it. But clearly on the video, you knew it was there, and you didn't want to give it to the police. And then you said something about taking it somewhere. What was that about?
Your Honor, I have never been searched, arrested. I did not know it was in my pocket. I have no reason to lie about that. I'm not thinking when I'm in a panic mode, and my kids are obviously watching. That was very, very difficult and hurtful and embarrassing. I am one to own up to my wrongs. and to take accountability for my actions. And like I said, this has been an eye-opener, and clearly it was in my possession. Did I know it was there? No. Did I purchase it? No. Was I delivering it? No. My kids are my life. And like I said, I would never jeopardize them, ever. And if I could change something, I would have never loaned out any jackets or coats. If I would have knew something like that, I would have been searching.
Well, you didn't really loan it out. You just laid it on the bed. Why
No.
would someone just take your jacket and put some drugs in it?
There was two different. I told Dan there's two different occasions that it could have happened. Previously, Samantha is the one that she had just came back into town. Her grandmother had passed away on her paternal side, and she needed a jacket and boots because she was out in Arizona. She came back into town. She needed something to wear. I lent my coat and boots to her, which was that vest. So it could have either been from then, or when we were at the house, the coats that were in the back room, someone had asked to go borrow the coat. They could have put it in there when they went out to smoke. I don't know.
Who is that person?
Who is who?
Asked to borrow your vest to go out and smoke.
I don't know. There was many different people in the home. The only ones that I knew was her and her grandfather.
What's the name of the grandmother that died?
I don't honestly know. I'd have to look it up.
I'm not
Well,
seeing
how did you get to this person's house?
I drove.
Yeah, but how did you know where it was?
I have the address. Well, she gave me the address. I would have to look and see what it is.
All right, do you have that there?
Not on me right now, no.
All right. We're at the proverbial rock and a hard place. And if I bullied her into it, I wouldn't be sure that she wasn't telling me just what I wanted to hear. I don't believe you, but that doesn't really change my mind about the fact that you need to be on probation. And someone said it, either Debbie or Daniel, if you are using, we'll find out soon enough. Ms. Halleck says you don't present as someone that's using methamphetamine, and that's true. We see hundreds of meth people, and sometimes they're very difficult to deal with, and they're easy to spot. I am concerned that you're on all this other medication. I don't know how you get through your day with all the stuff that you're on, and you're not careful with that. And this all happened in front of your kids. Anything else anybody wants to tell me?
I would.
No, Your Honor.
I would. I think there could have been some clarification if somebody or anybody had expressed Ms. Davis or that she was going to a drug house or to buying drugs. We could have secured an address and clarified that so it'd be clear for the court. The other thing is people who are on different medications, she has valid scripts for those. She presented all of those just as Ms. Davis requested. She brought them in. She had them all there. They were all valid. That's all she had in her system. I don't know that, I mean, people that have medication, I'm on two different medications. I will sometimes grab a couple, one or two, and put them into a separate thing to take with me so I don't forget if I'm going to stay the night at my mom's or I have something in the vehicle. But I know I have valid scripts and I have them on my phone. But I don't consider that being careless with my meds. I do think that if she's using, she'd be hard to admit it I think Your Honor's right. She painted herself into a corner. She's also got a reputation with the community. And she, I get that. But I don't agree that somebody who denies something is not a good candidate for probation. In neglect abuse cases, we continually provide services to parents who deny, and they still benefit from those services. And they, at a certain point, I think even if she did use, or if she had meth, I think she would benefit from those services. And I think the tears here today would be the impact that she knows it had on her kids, because they did see this and that was traumatic for them. And I think the fact that she realizes that says something. I know she has children with special needs. And so, yeah, the officers did a great job. They stayed calm, talked to her about it. I don't know what she told them about her children, but I would hope that if we do have children with special needs, autistic children do not respond well to strangers. And it makes it more traumatic when a parent who appears to be calm, not under the influence of anything, does request maybe help with a transition if it's possible. It's just completely outright denied. I act as the guardian ad litem for children. And I mean, I think officers are they've got enough on their plate. I already know they do. And they're handling a lot of people who have mental health issues and things like that. But this situation was very unique. So I'm not saying that I know that she's not using, or that I just find it hard to believe that she would be with what she's doing. And I do think she would still benefit from the services and from probation. And I think a recommendation for jail is not taking into consideration the totality of the circumstances with regard to what she does. I do understand she has children that she is a primary caregiver for, which, yeah, is concerning, and why she's answering to the court today and why she'll be on probation and why she's doing services. The fact is that to put her in custody would be more of a detriment to her family, and would interfere with her employment. And so, I don't know. I think she's probably, if she was using, has learned a very big lesson. Even if she's still lying about it, I think that will change throughout services, hopefully. And I think there should be court-ordered counseling services. I know she already does some counseling, but maybe to specifically address drug treatment. And that will certainly, I'm sure, be one of Dan's recommendations. So I would just ask, we can paint it both ways. We all are familiar with, like we said, our clients lying to us in the pocket story and all of that, and that denial. But I think she still deserves the opportunity to do the probation, as Your Honor indicated. And I would indicate that I think jail time would be an undue hardship on her family, her children. And I get we want to punish her, as Ms. Davis said. She's got a lot on her plate. So if she's able to do this probation and continue to do what she's doing, I think that would speak volumes.
All right, Debbie, any last word?
Just briefly. It doesn't seem that she's had any significant jail penalty for any of her prior occurrences. I think she's got 3 months probation for the one, and doesn't say what she got. Oh, it was dismissed, the retail fraud. So in this one, again, I don't believe her. I think that she knew what it was. It's a felony. We pled it down to a misdemeanor to give her the benefit of it being a first-time drug offense. I was hoping that she would take responsibility for it even today after watching the video, but she's still sticking with her story. So I'll leave it to the court's discretion. Thank you.
Your Honor, I wasn't going to bring this up, but because we are on live on YouTube, a lot of people watch this, and I thought this was peculiar. We actually got input from the community. Right after her last hearing, a gentleman called up, said he was a doctor, and said he was really concerned. He just wanted to give his voice. He said, I'm a doctor and I would never prescribe the kind of drugs that she has in conjunction with each other. And it's very concerning that she would be driving while taking those kind of meds. And he said, I know you probably won't do anything about it, but I just want to let you know. It's not often we get somebody that's worried up just calling, and he had to take a lot of time to search me out and get me the information. But again, I don't know if he was a doctor or what, but I did look it up, and taking oxy and codone seems to be kind of like a lot, and they're not supposed to be on it for more than 6 months. So it is concerning. And I will be able to track her scripts and make sure what doctors are coming from if we keep her on regular testing, and make sure she's not doctor shopping.
Well, that doesn't qualify as expert testimony. I guess I'll just note it. I won't consider it for part of the sentence. Ms. Bowker, the bottom line is I want things to be better for you and for your kids. I don't know what the true story is. I've had people lie to me so many times in my career, I can't even know. As a rule, I try to take what people tell me as true, and but they lie to me all the time. And that doesn't mean everybody that I think is lying is lying. Maybe they've got a preposterous story that's actually true. I'm going to alter this a little bit. I'm going to do a 24-month probation, but you would be eligible for discharge after 12 months. So that would save you $480 because the probation oversight fees are $40 a month. That's $960. You don't have very much money, and you have small children and not much help. And I agree, you're on all these contradictory medications, oxycodone, hydrocodone, Adderall. But you have valid scripts for it. I'm not a doctor. I don't think that's a great plan, but and you can't just continue to give someone oxycodone indefinitely because we all know what happens. People's lives are ruined. But I'm going to do a 7411 probation and give you an opportunity to take this off your record. I'm going to do a 30-day sentence with credit for 1 day, and of 30 days, I'm going to defer all 29. I'm not ordering any jail time at this point. If you're using methamphetamine, we're going to find out. It just rise to the surface. Plus, I want to know the name and address of the house you were at.
Okay.
We're going to do alcohol and drug testing as directed. And we've been doing that. We'll be able to do it in Kalamazoo. I'm even going to waive the attorney fee, which doesn't demean Ms. Hallett. She's done a lot of work in this case, but I have the discretion to waive some things, which taking money out of your children's grocery bill. 75 plus 50 plus 960 is 1,085. There will also be the cost of testing. I want substance abuse evaluation. If you're not using it, then I guess you don't need treatment, but I am concerned about all this other stuff. I don't think alcohol is an issue, but you're to abstain from the use of alcohol and any other controlled substance unless it's prescribed. I want to know whose house you were at. We know everybody. Sometimes I think I know everybody, but I don't. There are many people I don't know. But you were not on the way to somewhere else. I grew up in Three Rivers. My parents' funerals were at that funeral home, and that ain't a street that goes from anywhere to anywhere else. So I don't know what you were doing over there. We'll find out. Anyway, as of this point, you can't use any controlled substance, and you're to keep your probation officer apprised of all prescriptions. What was your surgery on your mouth about? Was it just oral teeth stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had some of my bone removed.
Well, that certainly would merit pain medication. Uh,
I'm
But
also
that's Go ahead.
I'm waiting to get my third revision done on my shoulder from a rotator cuff injury from when I played basketball in college.
All right. Well, certainly, if it's prescribed, the problem is it's a very hard train to get off of. Many of the people that are currently opioid addicts started with medically prescribed opioids, and it derailed the rest of their life. But you seem to be functioning at a relatively high level. All right, Daniel, you know how to contact her. I've got 30 days held over your head, but the actual maximum is 365. Now, I no longer have to suspend your driver's license, hallelujah. One of the good things that came out of this new criminal justice legislation is they took away the requirement to suspend your license for use of a drug charge, because you need your license. Now, I believe you paid your ticket shortly after this and got your suspension cleared. Is that correct?
That's correct. It was the first business day.
That's the way I recall. So your license is currently valid. And all right, Daniel will be contacting you. I guess we'll find out. If you're using it, it'll show up. If you're not, maybe we should be more trusting. Anyway, I don't want bad things to happen. Now, you're on probation for 24 months. The law says you're entitled to be discharged a year early. So if we can do this, you don't get in any other trouble, we can discharge you from probation at the end of the year, and this charge will be made non-public. It won't show up on your record, it won't affect your ability to get licensed. But you got a lot on the line here, so let's see if we can make this work. All right, we'll end this record. And thank you. Thank you, Daniel.
Honor.